What's going on? There's poltergeist in our recording.
Oh God, the ghost of Uber's past.
It sure will be the ghost of his presence.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Controller. I'm Gladys, and joining me once again is Cryptic Panther.
Hey everybody.
And that's it. Uber and Fatti both cannot make it once again, so Panther and I will be doing the two-man podcast for the umpteenth time. Really happy that we didn't put a player count, in the title here.
In the title, yeah.
Jeez.
Exactly. Well, with Fatti though, I mean he's still trying to get the move situation sorted out. So I was chatting with him today, and I told him like, dude, I know you're just swamped, so it's like take the day, dude. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
sure.
Uber, he just decided to play hooky.
Take body shots off of a homeless man's belly.
Probably. What else you gonna do in California?
You never know.
So I'm scared to ask.
Scared to ask, but also insanely curious. I must know. Anyway, so we're going to be doing, obviously, like I just said, the two-man podcast. We're going to try to bounce back and forth and hopefully still have some good discussions here. We've got some very interesting articles to get to, but I think probably the most exciting news for you and I both, we're going to start with that. So, Panther, let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2.
So, Red Dead Redemption 2. It seems to be the talk of the town. 2 podcasts in a row, lead stories or Red Dead titles, or Red Dead topics, I should say. So the first one is, you better clear out some space for RDR2. It has been reported by multiple sites. I haven't seen an official statement by Rockstar, but there's been, like, everybody has been talking about it. And it's been on multiple websites, etc., etc. 105 gigs of space required for Red Dead.
Yep.
105 gigs. That is huge. I mean, I bought it. I pre-ordered it digitally, so I'm thinking mine's going to be, probably fairly large. I don't know about the physical copy, and people are speculating that if you're just having it on the basic PS4, it may not be as big because of the 4K textures for the Pro version. Possibly would make it larger. Xbox people aren't unfamiliar with these large titles. I know I downloaded Gears of War 4 on my PC through they had a special for Games Pass, so I grabbed Game Pass. It was on like a 2-month $2 special or whatever, and I downloaded Gears of War 4. It was like 100 and some gigs.
Wow.
So that was on PC. I don't know if the title will be much different in size for an Xbox, but yeah, I'm like, damn. And I've heard of other titles. Excuse me. Other titles being fairly large. And I know there's some titles on PlayStation that are fairly large. I know like Battlefield 4 is pretty big after all the updates and expansions. Sure. And like GTA is pretty big with all the updates, expansions, and etc. So, but out of the gate, 105 gigs is big. But man, the game, I guess, is massive. And from the little bit that we've seen, and we only seen that trailer stuff, which was a little bit of gameplay that was probably scripted. I know there's been multiple people have played it, and they just rave about how well it looks. So we know that the game is going to look phenomenal. We know it's a big game, so I know the data's there. So I'm happy that it's a big game. I'd rather be a 105 gig game and look awesome than be a 65 gig game and look like shit. I got the space. I'm not worried. I got the space. But yeah, just don't delete all those PlayStation Plus titles, because that's what I'm going to be doing to make sure I got the room. I don't have a question. I got lots of space, but man, that's huge.
It is, yeah. That's extremely ambitious, and it's just another notch for them. Gearing towards what they said was going to be a literal game changer.
Exactly, and that's just the base. Apparently, that's just right. the initial game. So that's not patches. That's not any DLC they've added or anything down the road.
And that's not going to be online. Exactly, yeah.
And online it doesn't come into beta for online. Comes in November, so we're not even getting the online data. So yeah, there's definitely, it's going to take up a lot of space, but I think it's worth it. So clear up those hard drives, folks, because you're going to need it.
Absolutely.
And just to keep rolling right with the PlayStation 4 news, PlayStation 4 users, it's just PlayStation 4 and Red Dead news. I shouldn't just say PlayStation because this game is on both consoles. But PlayStation 4 users will get select Red Dead Redemption 2 content 30 days early. Red Dead Online also supports 32 players. And there's more. There's a website I actually found called rdr2.org. It is not an official website. They're not affiliated directly with Rockstar, but there is like a plethora of information on this website. I basically just skimmed through it on the article looking for more information on the install size, whether anything's been confirmed, and I haven't found it yet. But I'm going to link the website, and I'm going to link the other article I found referencing the 30-day early content, and I'm also going to link the screenshot of the tweet that was originally noting that it was 105 gigs. I'll give you all the info. You can scan through it. But, yeah, if you're looking for some more RDR2 information, that website seems to have a boatload of stuff. And I imagine they'll have a lot more once more is released. So some little bit of information for everybody to scan through.
Yeah. We got less than a month, man.
I'm excited.
I'm
can't
so
wait.
excited.
I can't wait. I mean, like, from the people that played the game when they talked about it, I can't see there's any way of being let down. Like, the information that we got, the information I give last week, and I only barely scraped the surface of the information that was given in the podcast. There was so much. And I mean, there's even more coming out. I mean, I don't know if it was mentioned last week when we recorded, but there was mention I've seen on Reddit again today where if you kill a civilian or a stranger in the street, his family could potentially come after you. So in other words, you're walking down the street and you see this jerk off you don't like, and you shoot him in the head, and you're seen. Then one of his family members may later on show up in the game and say, "No, you killed my Uncle Timmy. I'm going to shoot you in the nuts." You know.
I would love to see
crazy.
that type of system that like the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War.
The Nemesis.
Yeah,
system.
That'd be awesome if they had some type of system, not exactly like it, but in a way, that the random character traits are all made up, but then you could have vendettas and stuff like that. Yeah, that'd be just righteous.
Yeah, I know. Like people are talking in the comments on Reddit saying that that the other games have done this. Skyrim, which sadly I haven't ever played. It's on my list of like 4,000 other games to play. Yeah. So I mean, people are talking about it being done in that game, and there was a couple other ones mentioned. But yeah, I'm like. And one of my favorite questions asked in the comment section on Reddit is a question I also have is because sometimes you just get a little sick when you're playing video games. What happens if you kill everybody? What happens if you just ride into a town and just start murdering everybody?
Well, I don't think you'll be able to kill everybody.
Probably
right?
Not, but
maybe.
I don't know.
It's worth a shot.
I'm thinking there could be a live stream later on down the road, and it could be let's commit mass murder and just see what happens if I can go to a town and I can just murder anybody and everybody. That could be some entertainment.
Could be. So, are you planning on going white hat or black hat?
It's probably gonna be a little gray hat.
Okay.
It'll be depending on my mood. If I had a bad day at work, I could be loading up Red Dead and I could be murdering everybody. That could be it. It's gonna be my stress relief from work. I'll get off work and be like, yeah, today sucked. Everyone else in Red Dead's gonna die. Shit. So what about you? How are you gonna?
I think I'm gonna go white hat at first. I tend to try to do the right thing, even in RPGs most of the time, as my first basis. Beyond that, once I've spent enough time and I'm kind of just free roaming or whatever, that's when I'll maybe start to screw around and drag some people behind horses and whatnot. But I'm really anxious to see how the whole hunting and animal aspects translates in the game specifically, because what I'd love to do is see if I could drag somebody that's been pissing me off out into the woods, kill some animal, and tie this dude to a tree and just lay some carcasses around him and watch bears or wolves come and eat this fucker.
Holy shit.
So
there you go. You're not just going to tie it into a train track like everyone did in Red
Dead.
No,
it's too easy.
You're wanting to drag someone out into the wilderness and possibly feed them to bears.
Yes.
I like that idea. I like that idea. It could be a things to do for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a
Wow.
list.
Just long as the police don't find that list.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Drag so and so into the woods. The bears will fucking eat them. The cops will be like, all right, so you're coming to me. No, it's in a video game. I swear.
About 25 minutes from now. Gladys, open the door.
God, great. That's gonna be a one-man podcast. You're just kicking and screaming. Listen to the recording. Listen to the recording. You're drug out the door. Shit.
Shit. Well, yeah. So that's it for Red Dead news for this particular podcast. I'm sure over the next 3 weeks before the game is released that we'll obviously be getting more information. There is a gameplay new video being released tomorrow as of this recording, correct?
Yeah, we're recording this on Sunday night, and the news I seen online, there's some more footage being released tomorrow, or will be today. The podcast will be up on Monday, but the footage will probably already be released. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen the damn footage, go fucking watch it. Plain and simple. Yeah. The fuck are you doing?
Before we tie you to a tree.
Yeah. To feed you to a fucking bear.
Oh man.
God,
all right.
Our one listener just unsubscribed.
Yeah. Fuck these guys. All right. Well, we're gonna move on here. So, last podcast we talked about some sad news about Telltale Games closing their doors rather suddenly. And that's now become the focus of a class action lawsuit by a former Telltale employee, alleging that the company violated labor laws on the books in California and nationwide when it laid off hundreds of employees on this past Friday, in advance of a planned closure of the studio. So this is a big deal because obviously, we're talking about upwards of 250 people. The total layoffs for Telltale amount to approximately 275 employees. So it's a big number of people, and for a class action lawsuit, what they're going for here is basically restitution for the fact that they were not given warning. There was no notice in advance. Basically, people showed up for work like any other day and was told, this is your last day, go home, and we're cutting everybody off. That's it. So right now, what they're going for with this class action lawsuit is for Telltale to give each of the 275 employees salary and benefits for a full 60 days following the date of their termination. That's what they're going for. Hopefully, if they win that, everybody will be covered. And I gotta root for them. So
for sure. Yeah. I mean, this is some bullshit. I mean, I know there's been buyouts and people's lost their jobs and other industries and other areas, and things aren't the greatest for everybody. But to walk into basically your job knowing that you're working on fucking projects. I mean, it's not like they just finished launching the game and they were like, oh, we don't have nothing lined up. Shit, I hope we got jobs, coming back to work, All of a sudden they're in the middle of fucking making games. They were working on The Walking Dead. They were getting ready to start on another the Wolf Among Us game. They were lined up to do some work for Netflix for a Stranger Things game. They had fucking shit on their plate. Yep. So you wouldn't even fathom the idea that you're going to walk into work on Friday and be fired. That is just some fucking bullshit. It is. And I mean, I know why they probably didn't offer them any money, because I guarantee you their bank is fucking dry. Because that's the only reason they shut down. They got games in the works, so they can't afford to put them out. Is why they're shutting down. In my mind, what else reason would they shut them down?
I mean, that's got to be it. Now, I'm not privy to sales figures or operating costs or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, there's no way for outsiders really to have a fantastic idea of what's going on under the hood here. But as far as this particular situation, obviously, we talked about last time how gaming companies and developers kind of opened their arms to all these people from Telltale and said basically we'll find something for you. Lots of people put a lot of effort into trying to get these people taken care of, and that's awesome. Now, to combat kind of this happening, there is both federal legislation and legislation in California, where this Telltale Games is based. So this is called the WARN Act, WARN, and it stands for the Federal Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act. And it became a law in 1988. And it stipulates that most businesses with at least 100 full-time workers must notify employees 60 days in advance of any plant closings or mass layoff. The act defines a mass layoff as a reduction of 50 or more employees within a 30-day period. So not necessarily just one day. You can't get around it by laying off, 1 or 2 people a day, whatever. So it's a 30-day period, 50 or more. Now, California has a state-level version of the WARN Act, which took effect in 2003, and it has stricter requirements. It lowers the company size threshold to 75 full or part-time workers and applies to any reduction of at least 50 employees. So it's a little more specific and a little harder to get around. Now, there was an update on this article, and of course everything will be linked in the description for you guys that really want to dive into this information. But there's an update claiming that Telltale Games may be able to fight the lawsuit on the basis of the federal WARN Act, but it will most likely have a tougher time defending its actions according to the California version of the law. And the reason that they could probably get around this, or they have a fighting chance of getting around this, Telltale Games that is that there are certain exceptions to the 60-day advance notice provision, and that exception including business circumstances that were not reasonably foreseeable, which kind of sounds like, sales were going down and costs were starting to outweigh, whatever they could do. It was cutting into, the money that was coming in. So if they overextended themselves, that's a business circumstance that couldn't be reasonably foreseeable if they just, didn't sell as much as they thought and they ended up just going bankrupt. But, I feel like you'd have to be able to foresee, tanking like that, right? Especially for a bigger company. Like, you would know. They've been around for a while now. You would know what operating costs are, what you've got in the pipeline. And there's got to be some accountants who are looking at the finances and just like, hey, we're running out of money. Okay, I told you 6 months ago we're running out of money, and now it's happening. And 6 months later, hey, so we owe like $10 million and no one's going to loan us any more money. We've got to shut down immediately. Like,
yeah, it's not like one day it's not like on Thursday they got the letter from the council going, shit, we out of money. Like, right, it just seems like, it's like, kind of fishy. Like, I understand maybe that they were hoping to get a bounce back, maybe they're hoping for a new contract or deal that works. So if they were banking on anything, or if they were looking at their numbers and realizing that shit was going south, they would have known. Yes. It's not like all of a sudden on fucking Monday of this week they were like, oh shit, we got no money left. Unless all their accountants fucking embezzled it and fucked off to Tahiti, But it's just a shitty situation all the way around. It's just shitty when a gaming company falls apart like that. It's shitty that people lost their jobs, and it's shitty for people who really, really fucking love those games. They were popular. They had a huge following, and now the game series is dead in the water. There's been some rumors floating around that some gaming companies are looking to possibly finish it off, but I'm like, man, that's a big undertaking. Yeah. I know Devolver Digital has reached out to them, to Netflix. I've seen some tweets about them helping develop the Stranger Things game. So, there's people out there looking to help and get involved and see what they can do for some of the companies involved. But I feel bad for the employees that just got basically one day they just got fucked over. It's just shitty. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So like I said, there's 2 versions of this WARN Act, and as stated, Telltale may be able to cite the WARN Act's, the federal WARN Act's business circumstances exception as defense. But it's very important to note, and this will probably be the pivoting point, is that California's WARN Act does not feature any such clause. There are no business circumstances exceptions. So any layoffs like this need to be paid to their employees, regardless of whether it's sudden or not. They still hold a responsibility to these people and their families based on the California WARN Act. So I think that there's a very good chance that this class action lawsuit is going to go through and that they're going to win. And Telltale is going to have to figure some out, or whatever is left of Telltale is going to have to figure something out. And, it was weird to me from when we first talked about this last week that there was something noted in there that there was basically a skeleton crew left to fulfill responsibility to the stockholders or shareholders. How did they word that? Something like that?
Yeah, pretty much worded that. That's the way you said it. Yeah, it was pretty much that.
What
makes no sense.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. Well, they're talking about that Stranger Things, whatever that is for Netflix, whether it's a game or whatever exactly what exactly is. They have a contract apparently, so that was one thing they were looking at. So I don't know. It just seems like there's some weird shit going on. I mean, if you're shutting down and you have 275 people, but you keep 25 on to work on the project, then we just way overstaffed for your projects. But then why would you fire everybody if you still had a fucking basically the people that pre-ordered The Walking Dead are getting fucked. I hope the hell they'll be able to get refunds, no problem, because I mean the game is not coming. The only part that was available they could just release the other day, and there's still another part or two supposed to be coming, which will never come, unless some other gaming studio takes over and finishes off the game to get it out for people. But I don't know, man. It's a shitty situation all the way around.
It is, but like I said, I think that the class action lawsuit on behalf of Telltale's former employees now, they've got a very good chance, as far as my limited legal understanding, stands. I do feel like California not having this business circumstances exception is going to be what wins them the day, and we can only hope for the best for them. Yep,
definitely.
All right, moving on. What is happening? Okay, hang on. Sorry, I just got an ad on one of the articles. The fucking IGN article, of course. So move on to a topic that comes back harder than Uber's herpes.
So this is a double oddity. Is the fact that, well, not really an oddity that there's a Fortnite topic, but it's actually a topic that I put in the doc for to be discussed, and also I picked it to talk about. So, Fortnite's latest season came out. I don't understand. They every so many months they put out a bunch of new cosmetics so you buy more shit. So, Fortnite's boob physics are an embarrassing and unintended mistake and will be fixed. So, this article is on the PC Gamer. It's going to be linked as all articles are. So, Fortnite Season 6 has arrived, and there's an awful lot going on. Backpack pets, shadow stones, 100 new cosmetics. But one thing that stands out from all the rest, Calamity's new moves. So Calamity must be the character? I don't understand. Yeah. So Calamity's new jiggle is not a sign that Fortnite is headed into dead or alive territory, which recently committed to toning down its breast physics. Epic told me via email that the movement is a bug, not a feature. So there's a GIF in this article, and she's like doing a prancy dance thing with her hands in the air, and her boobs are jiggling. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess. I don't know. It's not like they're bouncing like crazily. They actually look like what a woman's breast would look like if she was doing that dance in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing that, right? You look at the article.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. So get your hands in your pants. But,
how did he know?
I mean, they're saying this is embarrassing and unintended, and they're working on a fix as soon as possible.
On.
The oddest of the animation is amusing, but Epic's reaction seems a little strong, particularly given that the sort of thing is a feature and not a bug in some games. Never forget Conan Exile's infamous dong slider.
I can attest to that. I did see that.
You played that game.
I got an eyeful. Yeah.
And you left it all the way up, too. But there are millions of 8-year-olds around the world playing Fortnite. And 8-year-olds have parents, and parents don't always take to this sort of thing very well. Parents aren't paying attention to what their fucking kids are playing, or they won't let them play Fortnite. So, not only are they, constantly pining for little kids' money, but now they got boob shaking.
Yep.
I think it's a bit of an overreaction. I mean, I don't know. I know it's a video game, and I know she's a girl and she has boobs. I mean, they're not giant tits. Like, I mean, some games are just over the top.
Right.
Like I mean, as a an adult male, I mean, I use the term adult loosely. I just adult in age. I don't care. It doesn't affect me if she's got big boobs. Doesn't make a difference to me. The fact that her boobs jiggle is not a big deal to me either, because it's not, to me, it's not a out of the world type. It's not an exaggeration, right? It's not like
embarrassing
she's got,
and unintended. How they describe this is so weird to me, because this, you would think it would be so much worse based on their response.
Their tits would be like they'd be triple D's and flapping up.
Like she threw them up over her shoulder and started running around in circles with them or
it's
something.
like she had like they said, dead or alive has always been that way. Their characters always had big giant tits that bounce all over the place. It plays to a mark, and I get that the younger crowd does play Fortnite. It seems to be their thing, and I get they don't want it to have someone look at it and go, oh my God, her tits are jiggling. Well, Jesus Christ, it's a woman. Put a woman in the same top with a similar sized chest and have her do the dance. Her boobs are gonna move.
I actually think this is a little like they held back on it, because it's. I mean, as much as I don't want to sit here and study this animation of it, I'm been watching it over and over since we're talking about this.
Well, yeah, it's on the page that I'm reading.
It's on the page, yeah. But it's not egregious. I mean, it's
no.
It looks pretty normal, and like I said, they absolutely could have done so much worse in how they decided to do this, and it's pretty tame.
It is. I mean, like I said, I get it. And I mean, how often is someone standing at the front of the character to actually see this? It's a third or first person shooter, so you're behind the character or you are the character, so you don't see it unless you're standing there in a room with a buddy across from you. Two of you are playing the same female character and dancing around as you stare at each other's tits. Then you got a fucking problem. You're playing Fortnite is the first problem, and the second problem is you're staring at cartoon tits in a video game. But I mean, I think it's the game engine, because their game engine, I guess, has a really large physics-based background to it, and that's probably where it come from. And I understand that maybe they didn't quite program it to be that way, but it's physics. And if your game engine is physics and it replicates physics, then that's going to replicate proper physics. And to me, I think they made this overblown to draw more attention to it. I think they put out a press release and wanted everyone to get worked up over it, so more people will see it, more people will play their game, more people will buy that white tank top so they can make Calamity's tits jiggle. Guaranteed.
Any coverage is good coverage.
Yep, that's what I figured. That's my guess. I mean, calling it an embarrassing and unintended and like boob physics and I mean, I know PC Gamer's headline is looking for its clickbait for sure.
Right.
And I mean, it's like, really, get fucking over yourself. One of the best comments we've seen on Reddit was, well, it just proves that Fortnite is gay.
Well, I mean, it sounds like a 12-year-old saying that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a needless controversy. It really is. I mean, yeah. I mean, anybody that's playing is going to see a woman. Women have breasts. They move. I mean, it's just redundant that people would get offended over this. And like I said, it's not egregious. It's not over the top. It's actually fairly restrained in the realm of what we've seen in other video games.
Exactly. So yeah, like I said,
whatever.
They're just trying to cause a controversy that they're talked about.
Well, it works because we're here on
Beyond the Control. It was like 4 weeks in a row they weren't mentioned.
Yep.
So like,
yep.
What else can we do? We got to do something to get back on that podcast.
Boob physics.
Jesus.
We know these guys will talk about boobs.
Damn it! They roped me and they got me.
Classic hook, line, and sinker.
Shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on here. So kind of a backpedal here for big company Nintendo, as we've covered and as we've talked about, not quite endlessly, but almost. The last week's podcast that we had, we talked about Nintendo and their cloud saves and how.
Wasn't last week? Was it 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago. Time flies when you're doing a podcast. So. 2 weeks ago, then, we talked about Nintendo and their cloud saves, that if you let your Nintendo Online subscription lapse, that you would lose all your saves, not to ever be retrieved again. Nintendo has now clarified, that's the word that is used here. I'm going to say they have backpedaled more accurately there. They've confirmed that even if your online subscription lapses, that you'll still have a bit of time to recover the cloud saves. And what they mean by bit is that it's actually going to be 6 months, 180 days after the subscription ends. If you recover your account anytime or reactivate it in that 6 months time period, then you can recover all of your previous cloud saves. So, I mean, yeah, good on them, but honestly, shouldn't have been a problem. It's completely avoidable.
Exactly.
We did talk about, understanding that with potentially millions of users, the amount of data that would need to be transferred and held and, possibly not touched for a long time could be a cost. I get that, you're running a business, that's fine. But, there's no grace period. There's no, friendly policy for the gamer of understanding and empathy, anything like that. I mean, the Nintendo Online subscription is the cheapest online multiplayer subscription service that there is. It's not as expensive as PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, not even Origin Access or anything like that. But, it's the worst out of all of them also. So, there is that to counter it. But even so, Nintendo, you shouldn't have had this problem. And this is what we talked about 2 weeks ago, is that, your blatant anti-consumer, regimen that you have going here with just how your stuff is designed, with what you have to buy to play your stuff, with the extra memory you have to buy, with the cost of all these accessories. Like, getting in the door to buy a cheap Nintendo Switch is no longer an option because you're going to buy the Switch and then you have to buy accessories. You have to buy memory cards. You have to buy all this and that because the games won't even fit on there. Some of the games won't work with cloud saving. And up until reading this article now, cloud saving was a thing that you were basically holding for ransom, that you'd have to keep your online profile forever lest you would lose all your progress. So, I mean, like I said, good on them, but, also fuck them for this being a problem in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, they come out of the gate and they didn't include this. I mean, this was information they failed to include in their press release or in their updates or whatever. It's information to people buying online. That's a fucking huge mistake. But I'm figuring they realized their mistake and like, shit, we better change this. So now they make the announcement. Now they got all kinds of time. They have they have 6 months, from this announcement to get their shit together to make sure their cloud saves are going to work.
Yep.
Because it just came out. So I mean, it's not like someone cancels their subscription tomorrow. They have to have it fixed the next day. They have 6 months to get that shit sorted out. So, like I said, it's still, like I said, PlayStation is 6 months, and now they've copied PlayStation with the 6 months, and I know Xbox, I think, is unlimited. I think their cloud saves stay there forever. So, I mean, their infrastructure's been around for a lot longer. I mean, that's one plus for that Microsoft and Xbox does. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, at least with PlayStation, you can download your damn saves off the cloud, and then they're on your machine. You don't have to if they're on the cloud, you don't lose them. On Nintendo and a Switch, you'd have to have a fucking 16 micro SD cards.
Yep.
Or a couple big ones to download. Can you download your fucking saves off their web and put them on your own machine? I hope so. But I mean, that's another fucking kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Well, some games don't even
remember.
Remember cloud saves for some games are disabled because they're scared someone could cheat. So there you go.
Yeah.
Fuck. God damn Nintendo. You're such a fucking letdown.
They really are. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Anyways, we'll move on to the next topic here. Something that could possibly be a letdown, but also, if the rumor mill holds any weight, could be exciting. Panther, what is that?
So, PSX 2018 is not happening. So, Sean Layden announced the other day that there is no PSX. And I was kind of shocked by that because, I mean, PSX has been hugely popular for them. And it's... their E3 stuff has been kind of changed. Their format has been changed at E3 because they have like the Games Week in like Germany now. There's one in Paris, and then they had their own PlayStation Expo, and the PlayStation Expo would show, like, I liked it because they actually sat down and interviewed the devs, and they had the big couch sessions and a lot of interviews and stuff. I enjoy that stuff. And when you hear them talk about their game development process, and I don't just need to be bombarded with trailers to be entertained. I mean, I like getting information. I mean, some of the development teams for Sony are pretty badass. Like, those guys are great to listen to talk. I could listen to half of them talk and about anything. They could read the fucking newspaper, man. They're just, because they seem like they're such a great bunch of guys. I love to have them do like a round table, like 4 or 5 of the big executives from some of the big gaming companies for Sony get together and just shoot the shit over coffee. That'd be entertaining as fuck to me.
Wait, I lost myself in thought for a second. I thought you were describing how people viewed Beyond the Controller for a moment. Sorry about that. Go
ahead. They do as well. I mean,
I could listen to those guys talk about anything all day.
They could read the film.
Sorry, go ahead.
So that's my opinion on PSX. I enjoyed it. I loved watching the footage. Anything I could get, I was enjoying it. But he has come out and said we won't have it in the States this year, which is kind of a weird way to word it. He continued, the reason behind that we have a lot of progress they've been making on our games. Now that we have Spider-Man at the door, we're looking down the road into the 2019 games like Dream, Days Gone. But we won't have enough to bring all the people together in the same location. So in other words, they don't have any new big game announcements to make. They have a bunch of big games still in production. So there's big teams that are still working hard on a lot of things. Like with Spider-Man's out now, and like God of War's out first of the year. So there's those games that are all out and been played, and there's no more new information on that stuff, right? So I get that they may look at the pipeline going, okay, we got Dreams, we got Days Gone coming out. Those are only games with release dates. Like a lot of other big titles still don't have release dates yet. So they're like, well, what else are they going to talk about? So it's going to turn into basically a bunch of interviews and basically a lot of rehashed information. And so that was my opinion on why they're not doing it. So, but the internet, I tell you, it doesn't take long for them to form their own opinions. And speculation and rumors started flying pretty hard and fast after this announcement that they're figuring this means PlayStation 5 is going to be launched next year. I'm not quite sure how they got to that point of no PSX this year to PlayStation 5 next year. But a lot of the people were saying, okay, a lot of the games coming out, like Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima, if I'm pronouncing that probably wrong, and the other games that are coming out, like Last of Us Part 2, that have no release dates. We've seen very little of actual gameplay or actual in-game footage of any of those games because they don't want to release a lot of stuff. We've seen some trailers. The devs have talked about a few things, but they're talking there's no release dates yet, and they're figuring these games will be great launch titles for the PlayStation 5. So they're figuring that they don't want to come out and shoot their wad on PSX and say, oh, here's all this information on these games, but we don't have release dates for them again. That's probably why they're not doing anything at PSX. And the speculation for PlayStation 5 is figured they're going to come out at E3 and they'll be dropping release dates and console at E3, and they're going to blow E3 out of the water. That's all the big speculation.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to agree with you, though. I feel like this is just lack of new information that they could build, hours worth of a presentation on. If the big titles are out of the way now, the other big titles are too far away, then the incremental updates that you could possibly give, just wouldn't be enough, because you don't want to lay everything bare on PSX. E3 would be obviously the place to do something like that. So I kind of just feel like this is a smarter move by them, just saying, hey, we know you guys want information, but at this time, the presentation would really be everything you already know. And at this time, we're not willing to divulge really much more. So kind of what's the point? At least good on them for recognizing that, if that is the case.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if it's the other, then wow. I mean, like they've really played their cards close to their chest, because there's been no mention of new hardware. Like, right. They didn't even mention,
leaks or anything.
They didn't mention shit at E3. Like Xbox came out and like they're like flagging their fucking dick around. Oh, we're already working on fucking new consoles. Yoo-hoo. Everybody get your checkbook out. Like, you know, that was them. And Sony came out and was like, dude, here's a bunch of games. You know, they're like, this is it. And I mean, Xbox, I mean, they know they're behind the eight ball, man. They have to win this. They don't necessarily have to win this next upcoming round of console wars, but they do have to actually compete.
They need to do better.
Yeah. So I mean, they seem like they're on the right path. They're making a lot of smart decisions, but like I'm nervous that PlayStation's going to make a mistake and launch too early, and then Xbox is going to roll in and they're just going to be, well, here, we're swinging the bigger hammer this time. You know, I'm just worried that Sony's like, shit, we got to get the console out first. We know Xbox has got one coming. We got to get ours out first, and you know, and make the mistake of launching too early, and
right.
Or maybe they're sitting back going, let's wait to see what Xbox has got. We got like 4 or 5 games with no release dates, and let's drop them all on the PlayStation 5 within 3 months of each other.
Well, and they've done that before. That's not unprecedented for their business.
No, so like there's lots of rumors and be lots of speculations made, but I think realistically that we're gonna basically be repeating themselves over and over. Yeah. And you know, like there's just one in Germany, and I think there's still one in Paris because it's not just PlayStation. There's actually a Paris Games Week, I think, in November, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to Google it, and I'm just not gonna bother. We're just a gaming podcast. We don't have any information that's credible. We're just gonna throw random shit out there and hope it sticks. But I mean, there's just so many there's just so many gaming conferences every fucking year, and the same information just keeps getting shoved down your throat like repeatedly, and it's like I'm tired of it. I want fucking release dates.
Yep.
And that's it. Don't fucking spoon feed me the same fucking 3 trailers 3 times a year. Give me release dates and I'll be happy. So, you know, I'm like I said, I'm disappointed no PSX, but you know, like I said, I don't need to see the same game trailers over and over again. So.
Pretty much. I can pretty firmly say that right now my stance is I'm happy with either one of those outcomes. If it's because they didn't have any more beefy information for us, then nothing relevant that they were willing to share, and they just called it off for that reason, that's great. Smart move. Thank you for not oversaturating. If it's because they're holding their cards close and they want to do, you know, the sledgehammer big announcement, not the company, just, you know, metaphorically speaking, they wanted to do the giant announcement of, you know, new console, here's the release dates, this is what you're going to get, and they want to blow the next one out of the water, then you know what? I'm going to be happy to hear all that as well. It doesn't hurt to not hear that on PSX, you know, we'll be okay. So either way, I'm all right with it. That's fine. All right, moving on here. And this is a topic, Panther, right now we're at the 42-minute mark, so we're going to have to be careful here. something that we've talked about frequently and in different variations, because there's a lot to go through with this particular topic. We're talking about this again because FIFA 19 is now officially out, and they disclosed their pack odds. So back into the same wheelhouse of discussion for, you know, that loot boxes are gambling, that these card packs are predatory practices, that it's awful for gamers, that there's legislation in Belgium and Australia. All these things are all just different segments of the same show. And it's just predatory practices in different ways that they can string out money from their consumers. So FIFA, I gotta say, is probably the most dominant form of predatory gaming practices from EA, and Madden obviously is a contender for that title as well, but I do believe that FIFA makes them more money than Madden. Panther, do you know off the top of your head if that's right?
Yeah, FIFA makes it's massive. It's sickening.
So I love the title. This is from Eurogamer. I love the title of this, where it says, now FIFA 19 discloses pack odds. The true horror of FIFA Ultimate Team is laid bare. It's a great start to this article. So FIFA 19 launched earlier this week, and the first FIFA Ultimate Team promotion is live, and this is called Ones to Watch. So this promotion
based on the information in this article, has injected 23 brand new live items of the highest profile and most promising transfers from across the world. And they're basically special versions of players, such as Cristiano Ronaldo and Riyad Mahrez. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but any moves that have been made. And it's special versions of the regular players' cards. So I guess they start out the same. But the difference and the real differentiating factor with these particular cards, the ones to watch, is that they are dynamic. And that means that they get permanent ratings boosts throughout the season whenever these players perform well for their new clubs when they got transferred. So if a particular player does extremely well in a game or in a string of games, his overall rating may exceed what is on his standard card, which is static. It doesn't change. So the ones to watch version of a star player is going to be more valuable because there's a chance that it's going to increase his stat rating and therefore how well your ultimate team performs. So they're in card packs right now, and there's a new feature that shows pack probabilities, and you can see how unlikely it is to grab one of these new ones to watch players. So for the particular pack that's shown here, this is the Premium Electrum Players Pack. And it shows the probability percentages. So for a gold 75 plus rating player, you're guaranteed it's 100%. For a gold 82 plus player, it's a 41% chance. For a gold 85% player, 4.3% chance, which is already abysmal. And then a near infinite chance to not get. The ones to watch player is at less than 1%. And that's just incredibly just awful for somebody that's literally paying money for this. Less than 1% to get this ultimate version of a player, because it's varied in what its rating can be. I mean, that type of particular like trigger there that changes up, like how can we make these packs more predatory? How can we change it to where somebody will want to buy and get these awesome cards because they're one of the highest rated players? How can we get even more money out of these people? Well, let's take the same card and let's give it live updates, and we're going to charge more money for that same card. That's exactly what they're doing here. And
well,
so
the thing here is, remember that other article the other website you pulled up that shows like the price of packs?
Yeah.
So that pack they're showing the odds for the Premium Electrum Players Pack. That's $3.33 US.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely the price. It's $4.33 in Canada. Like, there's different prices on this other website we have, but so the ones to watch, are they only available in that particular pack? Like, that's the thing. We don't play. We don't play FIFA.
Packs,
Unfortunately, Uber's not here. He done a review of FIFA 19 and he plays the game and etc. He'd probably be better versed in the way the card system works. But so in other words, if the ones to watch are available in what tier of packs? I mean, if you could buy a pack for 40 cents. Is the ones to watch available in the 40-cent pack or only in the $3 and up pack? Like,
most likely not.
Right, so we don't have that particular number of issues because unfortunately for us, we don't play the game, and from the Googling we did previous to the podcast, we never found any concrete answers.
And that's a problem as well in itself. Right.
So yeah, I mean, we did find a list of all the card packs, and we're going to get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, so that's a great point that you bring up, Panther, that I was hoping to get to later, but we'll go ahead and tackle it now. Is that I did some Googling, some research here before we started the podcast, and the reason I did this is because it says they're disclosing, pack probabilities, and obviously it's deliberate that this is an ultra rare, super, almost impossible to get type of card. So I noticed, that they talk about packs and that there's different probabilities and stuff. So I had to wonder, okay, well, number one, how many packs are there? And so based on the FIFA Ultimate Team website, it's FIFAUteam.com. I looked at the FIFA pack prices. I've got a whole list here that I'm looking at, and I counted how many packs there are. And there's actually 29 different card packs, which is in itself just ridiculous. That's insane. because they range in price from, and I'm using U.S. prices here, from 42 cents for the cheapest one all the way up to $20.83. So one thing that is listed here in card prices, this is again from FIFAUteam.com is where I pulled this up, because that was my other question at first was how many packs are there, and then how much do the packs cost. So in particularly looking for the ones to watch cards, I wanted to figure out, okay, well, how much are these? If these are going to be super rare, if they basically get live stat updates and boosts based on the production of the player, they're probably going to want more money for this. So how much is it? Turns out there's not a concrete price for the ones to watch. The official website here says card prices. What happens to card prices during the season? The ones to watch card price depends on how well the players performed and how many IF cards they get. Now, I'm not positive what IF cards are, because I've never played FIFA and I've never been into the card game types in general. So even if an IF card is a general term, I'm not sure what that is. But it says that's why it's so difficult to predict the prices. This gives the card game a fantasy football element. So it also expands and says with live cards in the game, basically cards that get live updates, players have to now make many important choices. Do you buy a card right off the bat knowing it will cost more than a regular card of an equivalent player? What if a player doesn't get the TOTW card, I'm not sure what that is, that you were expecting? When do you sell? How do you cut your losses? Or do you hold on to the card hoping it'll rise in value? There's a whole economy to this. And the fact that they're adding in live variable cards is another monkey wrench in this whole Gears, the whole machine here that's purely built just to fleece people out of their money. So again, it's how can we get more money from these people? Take the top rated players and tell them that they could get boosted stats to make them even more dominating, but that they're going to have to pay more for that. So I don't know if you can buy, and I'm pretty sure you can, I think you can buy the ones to watch cards themselves without getting them in a pack, because based on this description of card prices, it says card prices depend on how well the players performed. It doesn't say pack prices. It doesn't say...
And it's not saying card value either.
Yes.
Or stats. It's saying
yes.
prices. In other words, the cost of the card
as if you
itself.
bought it from a marketplace. Yes,
right.
like you could
so
buy this card.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfucking believable that there's this many packs. It's like a silver pack, consumables pack, silver upgrade pack,
29
premium silver. It goes on and on. They just use keywords gold pack, then premium silver player pack. They just use keywords. So in other words, there's not. I know there's a lot of football players. We're used to return football because that's what they call it. People, soccer players, whatever you want to fucking call them. I know there's a lot of them because I don't follow the sport at all. So I know there's lots of players. I know they need lots of cards to get all the teams or whatever you want to do. But the thing to me is, why do you need so many? How can one player have a card that's called a silver card where his stats are, say his overall is 55? But then if you get him in a gold pack, his stats are 75. How the fuck do you justify that? How the fuck can one guy have a card that is a one color or one level, and is the stats of the player, and the player's better on this card because it's a silver pack? But overall, is the guy really that much fucking... In real life, it's not okay, I'm going onto the pitch today and I'm going to be a gold level player, so all my stats are better. I can run faster today. I'm just not feeling it. I'll be a silver today. I'll just run at a stat of 65 instead of 75. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mentioned pre-podcast that I picked up one of the Madden games a few years ago. It was on sale right cheap on PlayStation, and I hadn't played a football game in a while, so I picked it up. And not to play online or nothing, because I'm definitely not good enough to try that. But I thought, I'll just play some football, because the game to me it looked fun. I watched some gameplay and stuff like that, so I think I'll give it a go. And I was looking through the marketplace at cards. I'm like, what the fuck? It's so confusing. You can take so many cards and mix them, match them up and then trade them in and build. It's so you need a goddamn play-by-play on the fucking card system. So is FIFA the same thing? How many fucking different types of packs do you need? So in other words, you could get a guy that's, like I said, say a 50 in a common pack, but if you happen to get the same player in a silver pack, he's a better player. Like, that's just fucking bullshit. It's just basically sucking fucking money out of you. it's so predatory.
Yep, it is.
Fuck FIFA.
And one thing that we talked about pre-podcast, and we had to stop ourselves because sometimes we do this, is we start, oh, did you see this? And as I'm Googling and researching, Panther and I are talking about what I'm finding in this list here and everything. So one thing that we brought up was, somebody that's new to a card system like this, or even people that are experienced, the amount of knowledge required to navigate through 29 different packs. How do you know which one to buy? And what, as Panther was saying, how do you tell, where your money is going to be more valued? Because why would a player be less in a certain pack and be more than their overall rating in a higher pack? And then these buzzwords that they're using, these little, they're basically almost like clickbait draw-ins, like, buy this pack. So they've got the silver pack, the premium silver, the jumbo premium bronze, the gold, the silver players pack, the premium gold, the premium silver players, the jumbo premium silver, premium gold 13, league premium gold, jumbo premium gold, prime electrum players, league premium, rare gold, rare electrum, prime gold players pack, mega pack, league prime players pack, ultimate pack. I mean, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? How do you supposed to know?
Like, here, we'll look at there's a jumbo premium bronze pack, and then there's a gold upgrade pack. They're the same price. So one have a lot more cards than another. And if you go down a few more, it's like, okay, premium gold pack is $1.25, but a premium silver players pack is $1.25. The jumbo premium silver pack is $1.25. The gold 13 pack is $1. Like, how do you know what the fuck to buy? So why wouldn't you just find the one that's called Rare Mega Pack and just spend like $5,000 on those, $9.17 a piece? Then you have the best ultimate team ever, apparently. Because that doesn't make any sense that there's this many different pack types for the same.
Well, no, it does.
It's for the same people, though. It's not like it's not like it's not like it's a shooter where, okay, we have 4,000 types of guns, and each gun has a larger magazine.
Well, this
or
makes
like stats that are actually changeable in the fucking real world. So the video game, sports games now are like, oh, so if you get a gold forward, he's this many, but if you get a silver, sorry, he sucks. Like, it's just so aggravating to see this is what sports games have turned into.
Yeah.
Like, it's no longer about sports anymore. It's a fucking card collecting game that you pay real money for. Buy actual
on top of the price of the game.
You're better off to go to the fucking local sports store, go online wherever you can buy sports cards and stuff now, and just buy those cards and just collect them and make a hobby out of it. Instead of fucking spending $5,000 a year on FIFA, and then next year you get none of your players, so I got to go buy a $60 game and spend another $5,000 to build a team again. It's it's insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over and expect it to change. It's fucking insanity is what it is. Yeah. And I am so glad I am not into these games. I mean, it's not just FIFA and it's not just Madden. I mean, MLB The Show is the same fucking thing.
Yeah, it's getting worse, yeah.
I mean, I used to love the show. I played it. I'm refusing to buy their game anymore for the fact that it's I mean, people argue it's not pay to win because you still have to have the talent to play the game. But if everyone has a level 99 player at every position, they have better odds to beating me or anybody else if they only have level 70s and 80s at every position.
Right, and so, it's just more of a mountain for you to climb.
Right.
Even if you are better skilled, like you said, the probability, because those players that are going to play innately better, is that even playing a mediocre player, they'd still be able to beat you 9 times out of 10, just because they're so stacked already.
Right. I mean, I know there's more ways in the MLB game now to grind to get packs where you don't have to spend real world money. But you can spend real world money to build an ultimate team, and that's what this is. Yep. And it's pay to win. It's not like you have to play 5 seasons of actual FIFA seasons or whatever they have every year, and actually win or finish in the top 3 overall to win in-game currency to then to buy packs to go online with. It's not like you have to actually play the fucking game to do this. You can just sit there and just fire the credit card at the fucking screen all day long, and basically until you run out of money or you have the ultimate team. Like, it's so ridiculous that people fucking spend money on this. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
It
Well,
angers
and
me.
to get back to a point you made earlier about this, it doesn't make sense to have 29 different packs. I disagree. It makes entirely too much sense. It's actually perfect in how it's designed. If you look at it from the standpoint of just oversaturation to the point of confusing people, if you muddy the waters and make it murky, then they're not going to know which players or which packs to buy. So if you've got 3 packs that are all the same price, how do you tell? People are going to be more likely to try, especially because, if they're 83 cents, if they're $1.25, it seems like a negligible amount, right?
Yep.
It's not going to kill you to pay $1.25. The problem is that, okay, you're talking about probability. And as I stated, they disclosed odds. To get a player that's ranked 85 or above, it's at 4.3% for the premium Electrum Players pack, and in particular. Now, I don't know if they're all that way, but less than 1% in that pack to get one of the ones to watch players. So if you talk about cost versus probability here, the chances of you getting one of these packs, you could buy 100 of the packs that are $1.25 and spend $125 and still have less than a 1% chance, and you could never see one of those ones to watch.
Well,
You could never see them.
Well, this premium electric pack is $3.33, and you
Right.
see that. So you're paying $3.33, and the best odds are getting a 70. It's 100%. You're going to get 75, a gold 75 player.
Yeah.
You're 41% at an level 82, and then 4.3% at a gold 85. Like, holy shit! Like, that is some shit fucking odds. And then when you get the ones to watch because they're super rare, less than 1%. That is fucking ridiculous. I mean, they'd be better off selling one to watch packs at fucking $10 a fucking pack. Guaranteed cards. Maybe probably people would spend more money on that. There you go. Yeah, here, please more fucking idiots to play money.
Well,
for FIFA
no,
packs.
now wait though, because we don't know how much. Because based on the verbiage of the article that we just talked about, it sounds like you can buy the ones to watch cards
In the
individually.
marketplace. Yeah, well,
in the
yeah.
marketplace. So we don't know what those prices are right
We
now.
don't know. Yeah, we don't know if that's even a possibility. I mean, we don't know for sure because we don't play the game.
Right. It's just from the verbiage. That's
Right.
exactly what it sounds
it
like.
definitely sounds
And
like.
and I think I'm gonna do some research after the podcast sometime this week. I'm gonna go ahead because I have Origin Premium, and FIFA just came out. I'm gonna go ahead and install it, and I'm just gonna bring it up, and I'm gonna take a look through that marketplace, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of research there to see what it
take
looks
some
like.
screenshots and stuff, and then what we could do is we can link those in like a doc, or we can do something and we put them up on the like for the podcast next week or something.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's
even
see
if
if
we
we
just
can-
do a short, separate segment, for 15, 20 minutes or whatever,
Yeah.
we'll try to get some kind of update on this, because Panther and I are both woefully ignorant of how this actually works. But just from what we're looking at, it's disgusting.
And if anybody does play FIFA and has more information or links to an article, hit us up on Twitter and say, look, hey, this is a better article. This gives you a better breakdown. Or I play the game and this is how things work. If you got any info or want to even talk to us, hit us up on Twitter or something that we can get some better information. So we're not taking verbiage from a website that, even though seems, like Eurogamer and the FIFA Ultimate Team.com is where we get the information we're reading from now. So yeah, if you get anything you want to add to this or anything that could rebut or give us better details, definitely link it to us. Drop us a line on Twitter, or leave a message on Facebook, on on YouTube, and we'll look into it for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's that.
Disgusting.
Awful. It is. It really is. So let's close out on a note that's not that here, because we're right about at the hour mark, but normally we go a little over, a little under, somewhere around there.
Let's finish off on a different note here. So the PlayStation Plus titles and games with gold. Let's hit those rapid fire.
All right, so the games with gold were listed the other day. They were tweeted out. It is October 1st to the 31st. Is Overcooked. That's Xbox One. October 16th to November 15th is Victor Vran. I've never heard of that game. Xbox One. The Xbox 360. What are their titles called? Not Play Anymore titles.
Stuntman. Ignition.
No, they're backwards compatible games. Sorry, I can never remember what that's called. Yeah, sorry. So there's Stuntman game is October 1st to 15th, and Hitman. October
Hitman
16th
Blood Money.
Hitman Blood Money. So like that's like 360 games. So they're old as shit. Stuntman is a really old fucking game.
It is.
I don't think I ever played it. I can remember. But I do remember the game from years ago, and there was a fellow done a video on it a little while ago on YouTube, because it is a backwards compatible title, so he was playing it on the Xbox One, and I was like, it hasn't held up in my mind because it's an old game. Overcooked, I don't know if it has online capability. I thought that was couch co-op only, but I couldn't tell you because I never played it. And that Victor Vran, I have no idea what that is. No clue. The two guys that have Xboxes aren't here, so
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a good lineup. People online were pretty negative. I'm not happy, so I don't think they're very good titles. And also as well for PlayStation Plus, some of the comments on Reddit weren't very kind. But it was Friday the 13th and Laser League.
Yep.
So we've talked about Friday the 13th a few times on here. I'm a fan of the game. I'm just not a fan of the fact that it took them this long to finally get dedicated servers, which they now have, but they can't develop anything new for the game. So I'm definitely wanting to get back into trying this out. And with it coming out free, it means there should hopefully be a decent player base as well.
Yes.
Like I said, the game is fun when you're playing with friends. I mean, playing with randoms because, people just can be shitheads online. I mean, hell, we can be shitheads to each other and we're friends. So, but yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll get a player base back, and even maybe some of our friends that haven't had the game before will pick it up, and we can get a good gaming session going because that's always fun.
Well, aside from the developers being inept, Gun Media and Ilphonic, whichever one of them, I can't remember which was the publisher and developer, but whichever one of them made the game, I mean, just really, really bad at developing it.
Well, the game itself was just.
I mean, the bugs, though, man.
Yeah,
not even just design choices.
Yeah, they made some mistakes, but I mean, like they fixed a lot of stuff, and I mean they can still fix bugs, they can still fix broken things. They just can't.
And they're still doing that.
They're still doing that.
But aside from bugs, the number one biggest complaint from myself and many other people on console was lack of dedicated servers because of the host quitting, and if they didn't get Jason, they'd quit and it would ruin the game. It would literally stop and end the game once the host quit, because it just picked a host at random, and then when that person left, the entire server shut down, and you'd have to find a new game to hop into. So finally, with the release of dedicated servers, yes, absolutely, there's almost no excuse I can think of to not hop back into this game or try it for the first time. So with one of the biggest obstacles being dedicated servers finally no longer an issue, I actually am looking forward to getting on this again and seeing what I can do.
Perfect. And Laser League, it's hard to describe what Laser League is.
Yes.
I've seen some gameplay. It is how do they describe it here? I'm trying to find it in the article because I know they talk about Friday the 13th quite a bit.
There's a description here. It says Tron meets Rocket League in the next sports game phenomenon.
Yeah,
and looking at a trailer, I can see that description.
I've watched some gameplay of it. It's definitely kind of different. There's a blue and red color, and there's lasers on the screen that spin out and do different patterns. And if you're red, you can't go into the blue laser, and if you're blue, you can't go into the red laser. It's the opposite color kills you, and you got to pick up points and score points. It looks like it could be pretty frantic.
Yes.
I don't know what the player base on it's like. I know some of the comments were saying now that it's free, like maybe there'll actually be some players playing it. People were saying, remember Rocket League wasn't that popular till it went free, and then all of a sudden now Rocket League is super popular. So maybe we have a new big popular title on our hands with Laser League. Being free to play is always a big bonus for games that require, that are online. I mean, it definitely helps with player base for sure. So it's free, so download it when it comes out. Like I said, I'm not really hyped one way or the other on it. It lists here also Knowledge is Power, which is the play link. We're getting that. PlayStation 3 is getting Master Reboot. Don't know what that is. PS3, PS4, and PS Vita are getting The Bridge, which I don't know anything about. PS4 and PS Vita are getting Rocket Birds 2 Evolution. And PS4 and PS Vita are getting 2064 read-only memories. So there you go.
Yep.
So a bunch of PS4 titles, a bunch of crossplay stuff. And like I said, my biggest thing is Friday the 13th may actually have some players now. So
Yeah.
I know some people on the comments and on Reddit were shitting on it, but fuck them.
Well, and to an extent, the game deserves to be shat on. It really does.
Well,
but,
yeah, I mean,
but,
like I said,
yeah.
the game itself, like the actual game itself was fun to play outside of the bugs and the shitty no dedicated servers. But yeah, I mean, the game is fun. So if you listen to this and you've never played it, when it comes out for Plus and you have it, pick it up and get online and give it a try.
Yeah, and that'll pretty much do it. So, of course, everything that we've talked about will be linked in the description of the YouTube video when this goes up. We'll be, obviously, like I said, doing some research in the meantime on the FIFA Ultimate Team and how that works. Again, as Panther suggested, if you guys have any information or knowledge that could help us out in determining whether this anger is actually warranted or not, or if it gets even worse as you go down the rabbit hole, let us know. Give us a heads up, and any information you have, we could talk about in our next podcast or maybe in a special separate video. So we'll be talking about that more in the future, unfortunately. I really wish that we didn't. It just seems like one thing after another, but nothing we can do but talk about it because that's what we do here. Unfortunately, we don't have any ins in the gaming industry. Not yet to make any of those changes. So,
no,
anyways,
sadly.
yeah. We know they're all listening, but so far they haven't reached out. Yeah. All right. So from I would say all of us at Beyond the Controller, but from the two of us, from the two most reliable members that we got. Thank you guys for listening so much, and we will see you next time.